Hello comrades, hi guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome to this something special, exciting episode of Summit. Not only excited because we finally have Robert again with us, but because as you can see, we have changed the setting. A bit more about that in a second, but speaking of as if you can see, because if you are watching this, check the link in the description of this video. We also do podcasts, and if you're listening, we also do videos where you can leave a nice comment and communicate with us. But going back to the setting, where are we?
Well, we're at the Lindner Hotel in Nürburgring. We're hanging out in the bar with, my car that someone actually blasted me on the internet the other day because I called someone out for not driving their McLaren enough.
Yeah.
And they're like, Robert, what are you talking about? Your car just sits in a hotel lobby. So actually we're hanging out at the Lindner right now. We're having drinks. We've got a bunch of people. Tom's actually going to go live in a minute and just show that everybody that's here, we've probably got about 35, 40 people. Mm-hmm. We're just hanging out and enjoying the night and having drinks and just enjoying a good time. It's the last night. Well, I guess today was the second to last day of TF, so tomorrow's the last day that Nordschleife is open this year. So we're just trying to have a little closeout party, have a little bit of fun. So,
Yeah, speaking of which, this is not going to be a recap of the season, which could have been a good opportunity. We're going to save it for later because one of the reasons is tomorrow is the last day. Taxis are going out, and one of our big things, we made a giveaway. Whoever can guess the final mileage of the 720S is going to win a lap in the 600 LT, which is coming soon, by the way, but more on that later. The reason why I'm mentioning it, it's please leave us a comment. Leave us a question in the comments regarding what you want us to answer you for next summit, which is going to be focused on the recap of the season. What's our highlights, what's our lows, what are the plans for next year, etc., etc. But going back to this
I think this is going to be fun.
It's going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. A couple of important things. So we always have a tradition. We're doing a giveaway, but this time we decided to,
Up the ante? Up the ante?
Yeah. So first of all, we are doing a lot of free drinks for the live audience. On top of that, we are going to, should we kind of hint to it?
Yeah, I think that it's something we've been really working on heavily, is trying to give a big giveaway. We've done a lot of little things. We've done taxi laps, we've done rental car giveaways, we've done hats, shirts, beanies, jackets, all kinds of different things like that. But why are we all at the Nürburgring? I think it's because we love the Nürburgring. We love coming to the track, we love racing, we love driving. And growing up, for anybody that doesn't live here in town, the Nürburgring has always been this just, epic thing that you just have to go and you have to enjoy. It's part of your bucket list. And so why don't we give somebody something that we actually can give away that we may not have been able to do 5, 10, or 15 years ago when we knew about the Nürburgring? So the concept is, maybe we haven't refined the name exactly yet, but the concept is Life with Apex. So the idea is that you can come to the Nürburgring. We're going to give away 2 weeks of hotel at Apex. We're going to give away breakfast every morning, rental car every day, taxi laps. It's going to be a complete package where you get to come to the Nürburgring. You're going to get €1,000 spending cash, because who can just leave their job for 2 weeks and not make any money? So we're going to give €1,000 spending cash. You're going to come stay at Apex for 2 weeks. We're going to probably pair it up with a VLN weekend so you can see VLN racing. And just about every single day you're going to drive one of our rental cars with instruction. You're going to learn the Nordschleife. So somebody that doesn't have the ability to get to the Nürburgring is actually going to come, all expenses paid, to come to Apex. Maybe you have to pick up a couple meals, but that's it. Fuel, lap tickets, cars, breakfast, hotel stay, and €1,000 spending cash is all going to be included. So maybe we won't do a giveaway tonight. Maybe that'll be it. Huh?
Yeah, maybe that'll be it. So stay tuned for that. So eventually, at the end of the trip, whoever's going to win it is going to come back home richer with experience, but also richer with money, because probably you don't get to spend thousands.
Hopefully someone's got a job and they can take a 2-week vacation and come enjoy this.
Absolutely.
But the goal was to give a real once-in-a-lifetime thing. It's not something that you can just do all the time. To be honest with you, we've had customers that have come here this year. We had one customer who bought a car with European delivery and came for 3 months, and I was actually jealous.
Time.
Okay, I'm not jealous anymore. Yeah, I was actually jealous of it, and of his experience, and it was Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you, Peter.
So Misha?
Yeah.
So what we have here, I've got a gin and tonic, and what'd you get, Misha?
I got whiskey sour, because as you all know, drinks are a very important part of the summit. Usually Robert makes them, but now, since we are at Lindner Hotel, we have the most amazing bar in town, I would say.
I think so, yeah, definitely.
the variety of cocktails, we can fill the whole summit about them. But anyway, this is probably a topic for another time. Long story short, come and check it out here. Have a taste.
I'll say one thing about coming here to the Linder that I really like is that when I order gin and tonic, it's usually more gin than tonic. And I definitely approve of that. I like that. So
Absolutely. But going to the questions today.
Well, I think we should tell them how this is a little bit different format. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is, well, it's different format because first of all, we have live audience. So we're going to have a couple of live guests today. But another thing, which I just gonna jump straight into it. Today, Robert made 2 posts on Instagram asking like, okay, what do you want us to answer during the summit? Drop your questions. And after that, made a second post asking, what's like controversial topics, juicy stuff would you like us to answer?
Yeah, I think a lot of times we ask, the simple questions, the normal questions, and people are always a little bit reserved to ask, you know, maybe some more in-depth stuff, and to get the truth out of it. We're always an open company. We're always talking about what's really happening at the Nürburgring, what we experience and what we know. So why don't we actually encourage you to ask us what you really want to know? There's no point in holding back. So yeah, one post we got, I think, over 150 questions. And the other post where I said, okay, make it juicy, tell us what you really want to know. We probably got about 30 questions, and some of them might have been a little too much, but I think it was pretty cool. So we picked, I think, about 20 questions that are actually going to be a little bit of fun.
Exactly, and let's start with the most juicy part. So let me just scroll all the way down for the juicy part.
Come on, don't do that. What do you got?
Come on, let's start with the best one. How does it feel to be the only taxi company to crash this year and have put passengers at risk?
I think that's worded very well. I think it's definitely an interesting wording, and the question is to have put passengers at risk. So we did about 3 weeks ago. We did a video on the Charoudin track day. Maybe it was a month ago, where we did a lap and we actually spoke about that. And I said, you know, one thing for us was that we're going to go down marked as the only taxi that had a crash this year, or the only taxi that had an incident this year, and that's. For us, that's kind of painful, but the simple reality is that we didn't have to do that. Everybody that saw the McLaren come off the track thought the car just broke down. They thought that the car had a technical defect and that it was on the side of the road, because the cosmetic damage was so minor. It just had scratches on the back bumper, scratches on the wheel, and nobody knew what it was. But since we're an open company, we actually said, hey, you know what? We had a crash, we had an incident. The car had oversteer, hit the guardrail at Hoa Acht. We're open about it. We made a post on Facebook in a Nürburgring group before anybody even knew that it happened. Our passenger and our driver were safe out of the car, and we made a post before the car was even off the track, just because we think it's always important to be open. Now, that's the key part. We did that because we think it's good to be open. I can tell you that there is not one taxi company this year that did not have an incident other than the Nürburgring's own AMG. That's the only one that I don't know of. Every other car had an incident. Okay, that's either contact with another car, contact with a guardrail, or a very heavy spin in a very unfortunate position. Okay, and some of them multiple times, and we're lucky that there was no cameras present and that people have the respect to keep that quiet. So one thing that's very important to understand is that Apex is not the only company that had those issues. Apex is the only one that was actually open enough to tell you, hey, this happened. Right? So, like I said, every single company had a problem. In fact, a company had one today. A company was that close to hitting the guardrail today, and they got very, very lucky. We're all happy that it didn't happen, because an incident in any taxi affects the other taxis. It's not something that we want to have happen. However, speculation occurs, things go around. Videos from just about every single one of those incidents that I've just mentioned circulate around the community. We have them, other people have them, but we're decent enough not to just go and post them up and share them. So it's a very good question. Now, as for being the only company that actually had an incident and shared it, well, I think on one side we're proud of that. We don't have anything to hide. We're not too proud. We're not too shrouded in secrecy to show you that we actually had this issue. And so we're open about it. We want to be clear about it. We never want somebody to come up and say, hey, why was your car on a tow truck? And so, oh, well, you know, this and that and the other. No, you know what? The car had oversteer, it hit a guardrail. That happened. We're very fortunate that it was a very minor incident. No injuries. The car was back in a matter of, I think, 12, 14 days. Yeah. And, you know, life went on. And to be honest with you, the fact that we were open about it let our entire team learn about it, because our team was not proud of it. And when I posted it on Facebook, everyone was like, shit, man, you know, now they know this happened. but it actually helped our team grow. And that's one thing that I'm very proud of, is that we can man up and say, hey, we had this incident, where other companies might actually be like, nope, nothing, we haven't done anything wrong, we're perfect, when in all reality they're not. So I think on the other hand, it's worded as a question as to how do you feel being the only one, and I actually take pride in it, saying we're the only one that we're actually open about what we did wrong. So
yeah, I stand absolutely behind it. Well, speaking of other companies, the next controversial question.
Why can't you ask a normal question? My goodness.
No. Let's go for the. I mean, why would you always save the best for the last? Maybe there will be the best.
Because it's going to get boring.
No, it's not. It's not. Absolutely not. So, okay, are you going to give away more free stuff just to piss off other companies? By Thomas' father.
Well, Thomas, the reality is this. Apex got started because we love the Nürburgring, and there's nothing more to it. I was driving the Nürburgring constantly, was bringing the family up, didn't have anywhere to go. Misha was working at a job where he had limitations and maybe wasn't as happy as he could be. And we got to a point where we met one another. We said, hey, why don't we build something that's cool? Why don't we build something that's fun, and let's make sure that it stays fun? If the Nürburgring becomes somewhere that I don't want to go because there's stress, because there's headache, because it's just chaos all the time, then the whole mission has failed. And one thing that I've always done is I've shared my cars, right? This car right here has 22,000 kilometers only on the Nordschleife. On track days before we had Apex, on track days I was constantly taking passengers, letting people go for rides, letting people enjoy the car. There was never a time, I mean, I ended up with gum on the passenger seat of the car because I let a kid sit in it and he dropped the gum out of his mouth. Nobody realized it and it was baked in the sun. These are just the things that you do because you love the Nürburgring. I wasn't mad about it. You just love Nürburgring, you love cars, and you want to share that. So at the end of the day, when I say, you know what, free laps, discounted laps, etc., we have a very good following and a very good base of friends around the Nürburgring. And when I say, okay, free laps, right? I don't have some guy that's got, 3 McLarens, 2 Ferraris, a Porsche GT2 RS sitting in the garage coming and getting a free lap. We actually have people coming out that wouldn't have taken taxi laps otherwise. We did free laps this summer where a 15-year-old girl came out and got a free lap. We had laps coming out where people came from Brunchen and came over and got free laps. Hey, Mike, come here. So an example is Mike. He's one of our instructors. Come stand right over here so you can see him. So an example is this. When we started Apex, Mike was one of our first customers. And Mike came to the Nürburgring, and he was fully prepared to pay for a Volkswagen Up, right?
Yeah. No, for a shitbox.
For a shitbox, yeah, for a shitbox. Yeah, he was ready to pay for a shitbox. I said, hey, Mike, by the way, we don't have a shitbox, we have an Up for you. So we went from a shitbox to an Up, and we didn't do the shitbox because of insurance reasons, liability reasons. We want to make sure that we were actually putting safe products on the track. And Mike came and we started talking, and he says, yeah, we camp at Brunchen, we're always trying to save money, we're trying to do, do budget trips and all that. And I said, you know what, just take the car. And so my concept was he was out enjoying the ring, and here he was going to spend money that maybe at the time in schooling and everything like that, he wasn't ready to go spend €2,000 renting an M4. Yeah.
You still want to enjoy it in a way where you can have track time.
Exactly. So I said, Mike, go and take the car for free. Just bring it back. I don't even know if I said, did I tell you put fuel in it? I don't even know.
just skip that for a bit. Okay?
We'll call him back for the fuel part later. So the bottom line was that he just went out and took the car, and that wasn't because we were trying to do anything other than share the Nürburgring, something that we love with somebody else, and that was the bottom line. So when people say, are you going to give more free stuff just to piss off other companies, the answer is no. The simple answer is we give away free stuff because we love it. We want to share free laps. We want to share experiences with people that love the Nürburgring the same way that we do. However, there are times that other companies do give us motivation, right? Just not to get into too much detail, we did free laps a couple weeks ago. We did cheap laps a couple weeks ago. In fact, it was a German holiday. It was raining. We did free laps. And I think we did a €125 lap.
Yeah.
And we got just so many people out there who were already at the Nürburgring that never would have taken a taxi lap otherwise. And I jumped in the McLaren. Morin was in the M3, and we actually had a ton of fun. It was laid back, it was enjoyable. It was just, if we get you in, we get you in. If we don't, we don't. And we knocked out lap after lap after lap until the track closed. And it was an absolute blast. We were laughing with people, enjoying it. And that's why we're here. That's why we're at the Nürburgring. Well, a couple days later, I heard that there was discussion that that looks like money laundering. according to some other taxi companies. There was a discussion outside the taxi office between 3 companies involved that said, oh, well, you know, when Apex gives away laps, that makes it look like money laundering. Well, the reality is it's not money laundering. I mean, that'd be pretty cool if it was. You know, I mean, like that's a neat story, but it's not money laundering. But comments like that definitely motivate me to give cheaper products, to give more free laps, to give more experiences, because obviously we've got a mindset that's different than other people's, right? You have companies, big manufacturers that pay for licenses, that pay for advertising, that pay for everything and don't get anything back but marketing. And that's what we do. So we have fun with people, we share an experience, and we get marketing out of it. So the main answer is no. We're not giving shit away to piss people off, but I can tell you that funny comments and snide remarks definitely motivate some things to make it, maybe take it one step further, you know. But that's, I guess that's the best way to say it.
Worst car company ever to deal with?
The worst car company to ever deal with. Okay. This is going to be really ironic, okay? Because if you look at our fleet, we have an F80 M3 taxi, we have an M4 taxi, quasi, not taxi, now it's phasing out of the taxi. We've got an M4. I think you know where this is going, right? An M2.
Something to BMW.
Yeah, I think it's going to BMW.
Yeah.
So for one of my companies, we needed a new leasing car. We were going to buy an X3. And so when you do leasing through companies, they obviously keep a file on you and they keep track of who you are and what you buy, and they have a complete customer portfolio. Well, there was some genius at the BMW leasing department that decided he was going to look into all the businesses that I have, and of course Apex is on that list, right? So this guy had this brilliant idea. He's going to save BMW from the evil of the world, okay? And he's going to look up Apex, and he's going to see that, oh my gosh, Apex has an F80 M3 taxi. They've got an M4 rental car. They've got an M2 rental car. They've got an M4 taxi. They've got a 218. They've got all of these BMWs, and they rent them on the Nordschleife. Okay? And this is absolutely hilarious because they actually denied us leasing because we were going to use this X3, okay? An X3, potentially as a rental car on the Nürburgring. So we ended up buying a Q5. So we went to Audi, we got a Q5. And you know what's interesting?
I have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, this is what happened. So as far as the most ridiculous bullshit that I've dealt with a car company, that would be right up there, that we were going to use an X3 leased car as a rental car on the Nordschleife. Yeah. I mean, it was just mind-boggling. It was absolutely mind-boggling. So
I remember the time when BMW took pride in the fact that their cars were used on the track, but I mean, those days are over.
The funny thing was it had nothing to do with it because
I know.
If you take a leasing car, you use it on the track, maybe they don't like that. But if you're taking a Q5 for a completely separate company as an employee's daily driver, I think that they should be able to differentiate what you're doing here, you know. But hey, so I would say that's my most ridiculous situation or scenario with a car company.
Yeah, absolutely. Another one, also pretty controversial. Do you ever think I should not rent that car to that customer? I think I should answer that because I get to deal more with. I
think this is all you.
This is more you.
Do you remember when Kathi wanted to rent a car?
Oh, and that's why we kept her in the taxi office because.
She never wanted to rent a car, for the record. If she wanted to, she could.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven an Apex car on the track, Kathi? Which one? Yeah, see, she's driving the Polo. She's good.
Yeah, it was good.
She didn't even crash it.
Yeah, but going back to the question, the very short answer is yes. Often, multiple times. I think only once that actually Diana said in advance that she's not gonna rent a car to a customer that actually appeared in the recent vlogs, because it was a guy he had on all over his YouTube and Nürburgring now, how he was driving like an absolute moron, and then we already know, okay, dude, here's actual proof. But sometimes when people walk in and there are a couple of red flags when you're going to be like, cringe, question mark. One of them is, for example, just like every other rental car company in the world, one of the requirements is you need to show your driving license. Some people think it's a great idea, here's my racing license. No, we ask for your driving license. But if you're going to show up with your racing license, we're going to think like, maybe you have different understanding of the purpose of why we are here and what we of TF, and quite often it is unfortunately true. And we always try to kind of like limit the full no package. So we always say, for example, okay, maybe you should try to take an instructor with you. And often it is a good case, because, for example, last week I had someone who would completely stop before the carousel and ask me, can I go in there inside the carousel? I'm like, yes, now.
Have you ever had somebody stall at X-Mule?
Yes, I did. So there are multiple examples where you would ask yourself, like, dude, how do you have your driving license, and how you, like, in general? Those are things, but a lot of good things come out of that eventually, actually, also, because why we, again, going back to, like, why is Apex only the one company that has the crashes? Also, last year we had this discussion regarding the rentals. Why is, like, so many cars getting crashed at Apex? We only had, I believe, 3 crashes last year.
Yeah, and
but
I'd say
again,
we had 2 this year.
Yeah, and again, we are the only open company about it.
I would say that, to be honest with you, if you want to talk about crashes, we had definitely by far the least amount of crashes of any company this year.
Of any car company.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. So, well, there are a couple of there that I know that they probably had less. But,
you're
anyway,
right. You're right. I think based on volume. Yeah,
based on volume, definitely. But what I want to say with that is, because the way we treat our customer, we don't treat them as a number. Whenever we get a question or a request, hey, I want to rent an M2, instead of taking instantly their money, we ask, okay, what's your experience? Why do you want an M2? Shouldn't you take, for the same amount of money, like 8 laps with a Polo?
And I think this has a lot to do with how we do bookings.
Yeah.
You know, I've been very against online bookings.
Yeah.
I've been very against it because I want to talk to people. I want to communicate with them. What is your experience? What's your knowledge? And then you have companies that do online bookings that basically close the track on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so you wonder, okay, is it just, yep, okay, we'll take it, or gosh, let's fit you in somewhere that you fit a little bit better. Let's work things out. And I think that plays a big part of it.
Yep.
But the trend is that people don't want to email all the time, so we may have to go to that route. But you're going to have to put that personal touch into it on the backside, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see where that will end. But eventually, yes, we are sometimes very reluctant, and we use that as, to make eventually a beneficial case out of that for both the customer and to us. But sometimes, yes, sometimes it just doesn't help. Sometimes I sit there in the car and the guy is still standing there. So you really tell me I can go inside the carousel? Like, no, I want you to get out of the car and I'm gonna drive now back. Sometimes it happens, but unfortunately it's a live racetrack, and then we just go to the paddock, back to TF car park, and say, maybe you should take a taxi lap with the credit you had.
So there's times that you take people out of the car and you say, you know what, it's best if you get a passenger lap, go in the taxi. There's times that you let them continue and you sit there and wait with bated breath and you hope that your car comes back. But it does. You know, what's interesting is I've noticed a lot of times the people were worried about, they take an instructor, and when they actually have the instructor in the car, they come back for the first lap, we can do the instruction, they come back and say, you know what, that was overwhelming. You know, I'm done. I want to jump in the taxi. A lot of times they recognize it and they take that on their own responsibility and say, look, I'm going to move to a taxi, or let me just take a break, I'll try again tomorrow. So that's actually really neat to see. I think that leads into another question that we had very well about experience. What it leads to is we have a question that was asked, how much experience do we suggest you have before you come on the Nordschleife, right? And I think that is very difficult, because I know people that have driven 20 years that I wouldn't dare let loose on the Nordschleife, right? Yet again, I know people that just got their driver's license that you would let go on the Nordschleife maybe immediately or relatively quickly, right? So there's no cut and dry answer. What you have to do is you have to talk with somebody, you have to feel them out, you have to get an understanding of how much experience they actually have. Like this is a very good customer of ours, okay? Hi, what's your name?
Anshin.
Anshin, it's nice to have you on the show with us tonight. So the question that was presented to us is, how much experience do you need to have before you can go on the Nordschleife? And we'd said you need to judge each driver, you need to understand how they can handle a car, how responsible they are, and if they're the type that says, I'm going for a record, I've never even driven a car before, okay, that's a problem. But when did you get your driver's license?
In this July.
In July, so we're now at the beginning of November. What day in July?
I think it's the 12th.
The 12th, okay, so we're basically at 4 months of driver's license.
Yes.
So this guy's got 4 months that he's had a driver's license. You've driven the Sub 7 Up,
Correct.
the 218,
Yes.
and then you drove the Sub 7 Up again today, and now you're going tomorrow on the M2.
Probably, not sure. Depends on the weather.
Depends on the weather. See,
responsible.
very, very good example. We have somebody that says it depends on the weather. That's what's going to determine what car he takes. Often we get people that say, I need the most horsepower you have. I've never driven on a racetrack before. I've never driven the Nordschleife before. I need the most horsepower you have. That's
because
when you
I
draw...
cannot overtake other people. It's going to be dangerous. for me.
Exactly. That's when you have a problem. When you have a customer that comes in and says, look, I've only had my license 4 months. Can I drive your car? Will you help me? Will you teach me to drive your car? Then we have somebody that we are fully confident in helping out. How many laps have you done now?
I think 7.
So he's at 7 laps. You did 3 today and then 4 last week on Thursday, right? So he's at 7 laps. Tomorrow he's going to continue, but he's doing it very safely, very progressively, and in a very smart way. So this is an example of how much experience do you need to have. It's not about how much driving experience you have. It's about how well you handle a car, how smart you are, what kind of head you have on your shoulders, and that's really about it.
I think he's ready to take the 720 out next year when it's going to be a rental car.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, you want to take the 720? Okay. When you get to 20 laps safely, then we'll let you take the 720 with an instructor. Okay. Thank you very much. Huh? We'll see you tomorrow. Huh?
Okay, next in the line of controversy.
Oh no, I got this one. This one.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's mine. So, the question is, gather around because you're going to want to know the answer to this. If you take a BMW M4 and you use the same braking point at Stylestrecke as you would in a Volkswagen Up, will you run into the tire wall?
But
Wait.
Yeah.
But what?
How fast is
I don't
the car
know.
driving?
That's a really good question.
Yeah,
but
how fast is it
but
gonna
really,
settle?
we don't need to go into that because we know the answer. So the reality is, Javor, can you come here? Now, a little bit of history for you. This is Javor. You might have seen him in some of the vlogs, right? You've been in some of Misha's vlogs?
Yeah, at least 2 times.
At least 2 times. That sounds really bad, doesn't it? What happens every time you're in one of Misha's vlogs?
Crashes.
He crashes. Do you know that tomorrow...
Last time he didn't crash because he didn't go on track.
Yeah, and exactly what my point is. So tomorrow is Misha's birthday,
Yeah.
and you're in town.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means? Misha can't drive on his birthday.
No, but I'm leaving tomorrow
When?
at noon.
You should tell us. You should send me a message. What do you think the proximity is before the Javor curse is lifted?
I don't know. I don't want to find out.
Well, message me at 4:30, okay? But no, Javor's been a good customer. He comes around quite often. And yeah, unfortunately, the 2 times that Misha's had a small incident on track, we'll call it that, Javor has been in town. And so Misha has actually said, oh, Robert, my good luck charm is coming this weekend. So, no, just a little bit of fun. But yeah, tomorrow's Misha's birthday. And he said, nope, I'm not driving because Javor's in town. I don't want any stress. But thank you. Have a good night. What are you driving around? Are you going to drive tomorrow at all?
Tomorrow I have a tax club in the M3.
Very good.
If there's something available,
I think there'll be something available. Pop in and let us know, okay? All right, man. We'll see you tomorrow.
Awesome. See you.
Sorry, Misha. Had to go there.
It's
Hey,
okay.
the people asked, you know what I mean?
I know.
Wait a minute. Stateside Supercars. This is actually really funny.
Yeah.
This is really funny. Stateside Supercars said, how many times per day do you get asked, can I work for you? Okay? And we laughed at this. We're like, yeah, it happens quite often. And honestly, we wrote, I made an Instagram post and I said, send me a message. What do you want to hear on tonight's summit? And right now we're up to 9 people that said, can I work for you? Will you hire me? When are you hiring next? And the question was, what do you want to know in Summit? And they've actually asked us. So Nathan, the answer is, since you made that post, 9 people. That's about it.
Okay, well, still for the controversy topic and on the driving topic, are you or Boosted Boris able to keep up to the speed of the VLN?
Where's Moritz?
Moritz? What do you think?
I have 2 questions for you, Moritz. One, you heard the question? Yeah. Can me and Misha keep up with VLN? The thing is, the thing is this, okay? I haven't entered into VLN yet because I respect Moritz. He's put a lot of hard work into what he does. And when I come in, that could just like Rome. Did you see Rome burn? You know, I mean, you've heard about Rome burning, and I'll feel bad. I really feel bad when that happens. So I'm going to stay out of VLN for probably 2 more years. And I'm hoping that gives you time to get out of it.
Before Robert buys Hall of VLN.
Before I come in, you know what I mean? It's going to be bad. It's going to be really bad. But but really, so we obviously know the answer is no. Me and Misha aren't going to be competing.
It really depends on the event.
Well, To be honest with you, I mean, like if you talk about it, Misha, I think we can clearly say that there's definitely VLN drivers that we would be faster than, but
Yeah, because sometimes people do. There is of course a bit more limitations as of 2015 that you need to have your permit. So it's not that just you can arrive and drive, never have driven the track before, and jump in the VLN and drive. No, you need to have some prior experience. But don't want to brag, but I guess you and I have a bit more statistically. Yeah, a bit more bragging. Statistically, we do have a bit more laps behind our back. So we don't even need to be like very fast to be. Still make the finish line, yes, consistent and make the finish line. So yes, there are some people who just come there for fun, gentlemen drivers, and VLN is a lot about making the finish line. Sometimes driving two cars, but
I think for me, one thing that I would say, like to my advantage, is I will never ever set a record lap in any car. It doesn't matter what you put me in. Even if no one's ever driven it on the Nürburgring before, it still won't be the fastest lap somehow. You know what I mean? But I'm very consistent. I like to think I'm very safe. I'm the type of person that I think that if I was in VLN, if I was racing an endurance series, you could count on the car coming back every time. And that alone might win a race one time. You know what I mean? So sooner or later it might happen. So, but I have a different perspective of it. I have a wife, 2 kids. I've got a lot of things going on that racing isn't my focus. That's not my life. You know, so for me, all-out speed isn't really what I'm after. But it's more just about enjoying the cars, having fun with it, and doing things like that. So,
for me, I think as long as
what's going on, Kathy? Mitch made it. Oh, okay. Mitch from the internet. Wow. Do you guys want to know something? One of the questions we had was, is the internet famous Mitch going to show up tonight? Yeah, let's go see if he's here. If he's here, this is going to just stop the show, Moritz, I swear. But Moritz, real quick. So the answer is no. Misha and I aren't going to be podium every weekend in the GT3 Pro class, right? I mean, that's not going to happen. Mitch from the internet, what's up, man? How you doing? So we actually had someone ask us today. Did you see where I posted?
Yeah, but I didn't read them.
Yeah, but you know, I didn't post them.
I just don't pay attention to your Instagram. That's why.
Well, you're so famous, you wouldn't have time to.
Obviously, there's only one Mitchell.
Yeah.
And you only pay attention to Nathan.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
I'll be down to sign autographs shortly.
So somebody actually wrote me and said, will the famous Mitch from the internet be there tonight?
Obviously.
So he is. Now, my question is, tomorrow's the last day of TF.
Yes.
How are you going to send it off? Are you going to park it on a curb?
Oh, you're tugging at my heartstrings. I don't know. I was thinking about overtaking every taxi. Sideways.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, probably get back.
Are you going to do the stateside beach job at Brunchen?
Oh, that's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah?
That's not a bad idea. And what I'll do then is post 100 Instagram stories to the point where you lose 1 million followers because no one can put up with your shit.
That's not how you got to be Mitch from the internet.
No.
So the joke is, guys, this is Mitch. He's got an E46. He runs it. He has a great time. Sometimes you see him sideways. But really, he's a safe driver. He's always out having a good time. He will play with it, let the back end swing out, but it's usually in a good environment. But some people, for some reason, have said, are you Mitch from the internet? And that's kind of been the joke, is that this guy's world famous. But how many followers do you have now?
It's like 1,100.
He's getting there, you know? I mean, it's getting...
It's more than the amount of people in this room, so...
Yeah.
Everybody here probably follows you, huh?
Yeah.
Think about that. Everybody in this room follows you.
Oh my God, I feel so loved.
All right, man. Have fun tomorrow. Thanks for the appearance, huh? No, but that really was a question. Someone said, "Will Mitch from the internet be here?" We're like, oh, "Okay, I guess he will be." But Moritz, so we won't be setting records. I won't be winning in the 675 LT against Glickenhaus, right? But this was an actual question that came in. Of the non-taxi drivers, who's the fastest driver at Apex? You're the only one that can answer that.
That's a mean question.
It's a mean question.
Mean question to ask me to answer it.
Well, who's the fastest taxi driver?
Fastest taxi driver?
Yeah.
That's me.
He's like, yeah, right here, definitely. But no, that was a serious question. But you know what? The person who asked it actually provided the answer. They think it's Jack because he has racing in his Instagram name.
I don't think it's because he has racing in his Instagram.
Uh-huh.
But Diana beat him with karting. So.
Go-karts,
That was a
yeah.
dive bomb.
Wait a minute. Who has the fastest lap time here? In non-taxi drivers.
I guess you.
I guess that settles it.
No negotiations.
No, but thank you, Moritz.
Yeah, just go. Go set lap records on simulator.
Oh yeah, by the way, if you come down to Lindner, Moritz is 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th position on the Lindner sim. And he got 2nd place in the 4-hour race, and he was the only driver in his class. Nice effort. All right, so what else do we have? Anything else good?
Yeah. Well,
Will there be a summit once a month? I think we should try for it.
That's what we're
At
gonna
least
try.
once a month. Yeah, it's winter time. We should be able to go for it.
Will Robert be getting this 760 LT when it's released?
Yes.
It was actually answered in the very, very first summit.
Yeah, the one where we weren't getting a Senna.
Yeah.
I compared the Senna, which the Senna's still on the table. Let's just put it that way. We're like 10 months later and the Senna's still on the table. But the answer was the 720 is so fast. If you do that to a 720, you're going to have something that's unreal.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line.
that's the bottom line. Any winter testing or track days like Zolder last year?
Yep.
Yes.
Zolder, maybe Spa. We'll definitely do some winter stuff. Taxi laps, car rentals, testing.
Road
etc.
tours?
Road tours.
Road tours, any time of the year, any day?
Speaking of 720, the 720 is now going to become a road tour car starting on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to do a road tour in the Nürburgring, you can actually take our 720. We'll do road tours with it. And next year, we're like that close to making it a rental car where you can go out. This isn't a car that you jump in and think you're going to set a Nürburgring record. You're going to go out, you're going to do an experience. You're going to see what it's like to drive a 720S, a former Nürburgring taxi on the Nordschleife, and have a coach next to you and maybe go do a lap just for fun.
Yeah. Regarding taxis, did you give up the plan to put 4 bucket seats in the Schirmer M3 taxi?
No, we have not.
We have not, and I guess that's it.
To be honest with you, it's actually more cool than that. It's actually something I'm really excited about. The M3 taxi next year is going to be unreal.
Yeah.
We're talking 4 seats, cage, intercoms, harnesses. So you're going to be able to communicate with all 4 people in the car at any given time. It's going to be a niche that hasn't been filled yet on the Nürburgring, and it's going to be pretty badass. And it's going to be, I hate to say it like this, it's going to be fucking fast.
Yeah.
If you take the car like it is right now, we all know what it's done, weighing 2 tons. Take another couple 100 kilos out of it, put cage in it, put harnesses and seats, and actually put semi-slicks on it, because we've only been running the car on a Michelin
PS4.
Pilot Sport 4 tire.
Yes,
That's
yeah.
all we've run it on this year. We're going to be now on the Nankang AR1 semi-slick, which we've tested a lot this year, and is actually pushing on the limits of what the Dunlop Durezza does, a little bit faster from what I've seen than the Trofeo R. The car is going to be, with 4 people in it, really just a quick, fun, raw experience that I think is it's going to be pretty neat to be strapped in the back seat of a car that's going that quick with 4 people in it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and
it's
a
great.
really cool car.
Badass. Do you plan additions or changes of the rental fleet? Well, I guess the short answer is yes. The detailed answer is stay tuned, because we have some plans and some things just sometimes randomly happen.
Some things happen?
Yeah, when I go like to Russia and then Robert's on the, I bought 2 cars. I'm like, oh, okay.
That does happen. So I don't know if he hasn't put any leave requests to Russia yet, but the minute he does, I'll be at the dealer. Don't worry about that. It will not be the BMW dealer because they won't sell me a car. But I will say, as a teaser, we have a lot of people that think, oh, we're renting race cars, we're doing this, that, the other. I have already spoken with Tom Schirmer, and we have offers on the table to build a small fleet of Schirmer race-built rental cars.
Yeah.
So we'll just leave it at that, and we'll see what we want to go with. Okay.
Badass.
Kathy's gonna rent one. Ring Katie.
What do you think about the AMG GT 63? Is it possible as a ring taxi?
That's a tough call. We thought about it. We thought about the AMG class, the GT63, or what was it, the E63, or different cars like that. And as much as we love them, I think that segment really is going to get blown out. You've got an M5 available right now. You've got the Blue Whale, is what I like to call it, but it's actually a badass car. When you see this thing go around the turns, Dale's driving it, and it's just like, I got this slip angle on it with 4 big old smoky streaks coming. It's really cool. And then we think that somebody might be going towards a Panamera next year. Mm-hmm. So we have this fleet of oversized, too heavy cars. I think that market is going to be blown out next year.
Yeah.
So the belief was, yes, we could do an E63 or a GT63, but it's just too much. We don't need it. You don't need a fourth car in that segment. If you want to go, I hate to say it, if you want to go slow in a big car, that market's there for you.
Yeah.
I think we need to continue with what we do. That's fast, cool, fun cars, and what we want to drive. You don't see me driving an AMG on the Nordschleife, right? You see me driving an M3 built by Schirmer. You see me driving an M4 built by Schirmer. You see me driving a McLaren, right? Those are the cars that I want to drive, and I don't care what the market says or what's the cool thing is. If all the cool kids are going for Mercedes, that's not what we're enjoying on the Nordschleife, and I want to keep presenting what we enjoy on the Nordschleife, and that's going to be an M3 that's even built cooler than what we have right now.
Excited to see that.
Cool.
Best car for the Nürburgring, under 100K, street legal.
The thing is, I don't know what these cars actually cost, but I'm guessing a Porsche GT4 is somewhere around 100,000 euro.
Somewhere around. I think maybe Moritz, who is like drinking again and racing the sim. Non-alcoholic.
It might have been more when it was new, but I don't know. But I think somewhere around there. To be honest with you, if you're looking for something around 100 grand, I think that the GT4 is the way to go. It's an awesome car. They're very fast on the Nordschleife. They just pick through traffic unbelievably. They're nimble, they're quick. Every time you see them on the track, they're flying, and I think they're a great car.
Yeah.
Yep. To be honest, if I was looking for something in that segment, I would definitely go for it, without a doubt.
Yeah, definitely. What else do we have?
Will the price of a taxi lap in the 600 LT be the same as a 720S or cheaper? That's question 1 in this segment.
Yeah.
Question 2 in this segment is, why is a taxi lap so expensive?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 600 LT costs as much as a 720S.
The 600 LT spec that we are getting is actually going to be
A little bit more than our 720. We've done some options that don't look so exclusive because I didn't take any carbon fiber on the exterior.
You didn't take the roof
Then we
scoop?
did things inside, like the carbon fiber center seats and things in that direction. So our 600 actually costs as much to purchase as the 720 that we have. So in that regard, no. The 600 LT has the same brakes as the 720, right? Runs a similar tire setup as the 720. So there's no cost savings for us to operate a 600 LT over a 720S. There's no reason to go and drop the price down.
Yeah.
The other question was, why does a taxi lap cost so much? I did a very, very detailed breakdown of what our taxi laps cost this year, and I can tell you that right now we're doing taxi laps at 199 euro per month or per lap, and it's a very good thing that I'm laundering money with this program, because 199 euro is less than our cost to run the M3 taxi per lap. Okay, the 720S is an amazing car. You don't buy a 720S because you're going to get 50 euro brake pads or because you're going to get 40 euro brake discs. Okay, the brake discs on the 720S for a complete set of discs and pads cost 20,000 euro. All right, I will tell you that we are already beyond our 3rd set of discs, and we're probably on our 20th set of pads. Somebody can do the math here. We're at 100,000 euro this year just in brake parts. Just in brake parts. That doesn't mean that it's a bad system. It just means that it costs a lot of money to run a car like this, and many people don't really run a 720S on the track 25,000 kilometers from March to November.
Yeah.
So in order to run a 720S at the pace that we do, the consistency that we do, there's a lot of cost in it. We get 40 laps out of a set of tires on the McLaren, okay? That often happens 2 times a week. So we're putting 4,000 euro a week worth of tires on the 720S. Okay, in a month that means we're putting 16 to 18,000 euro worth of tires in 1 month on the 720S.
Yeah.
We haven't got to insurance, taxi licenses, etc.
The purchase of the car.
Purchase of the car, none of it, depreciation. Try and sell a 30,000 plus kilometer, or maybe 30,000 minus, we don't know because I'm not telling you this, kilometer car that's been run only on the Nordschleife, registered as a taxi. Try and sell that on the used market. Tell me how that goes. Depreciation is going to be unreal, okay? So there are so many things that play into it that I don't even dream that we might make money with the 720. I know that when you really break it down and you look at it at the end of the day, it is going to be a loss when you calculate everything. But it's fantastic advertising. I love the brand. I love the program. It's wonderful. The expression that people get after getting out of an 800 horsepower car that Moritz is flinging around the track or Tim's flinging around the track, they're just, jaw dropped. So why does a lap cost so much money? It's because it actually takes every bit of that to operate. You know, we're replacing in the M3. We have maybe we'll do a specific video about this, about the maintenance regimen that we have to go through in order to keep these taxis operating. It's very, very detailed.
Yeah.
With the M3, we get 100 laps out of a set of tires. That's actually fantastic. That's very, very good. But things like the wheel hubs, the wheel hubs from BMW, they tried to build them in a lightweight fashion. So we're having to replace them every 3,000 kilometers. It's not a cheap job. Drive shafts, you know, all of these things we're constantly replacing because we have to have them operating. No car on the Nürburgring runs as hard as these taxis do.
Yeah.
And take that and then put it over what normal road cars do, and our costs to operate these things are astronomical.
Yeah.
And we've gone a step above. Other companies are running stock cars, stock brake pads, stock discs. We're running aftermarket parts. We're running more expensive products so that we have a higher performance and we pay for it.
What else do we have?
Ring Kathi.
Ring Kathi.
Oh, yeah.
About the wheels.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote in, they said, hey, Kathi, please join us. You guys might know Ring Kathi, our taxi coordinator.
Yeah. People might not recognize her with the new hair.
I heard
stuff.
that you want to shave your hair.
It was, I considered it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's just the whole woman thing when you don't know what to do anymore with your hair. You had it long, you had it short.
It happens to me all the time. Do you know that Maximus came to me the other day and he said, you know, Daddy, you know what's bothering me these days? And my heart sank. I'm like, my 5-year-old's coming to me. He's like, do you know what's on my heart lately? And I said, Max, tell me all about it. He goes, my hair, it's just getting so long, it's touching my forehead. And you know, so like his biggest stress was that his hair is getting long enough to touch his forehead right here and he needs a haircut, you know? So he relates to you. Yeah. But
I just made a compromise and
halfway. So somebody wrote us and said, Robert, when are you going to pay Ring Kathi enough money so that she can get a decent set of wheels on her Golf, right? And the funniest thing was, I was like, you know what I should do? I should take a couple €100 to the summit tonight. I should give it to Kathi and say, Kathi, go buy some wheels. But luckily for me, Kathi wrote like 15 seconds later and said, hey, where's the Tinder pics for my cat from Apex Media? And I said, okay, well, great. I just saved some money. All we have to do is set up a Tinder pic profile shoot for your cat with Tom and Bruno, and then your cat can get swiped right, and then we don't have to buy any wheels. So the answer is we're not going to give Kathi money for wheels because she doesn't care about wheels. She just wants to get her cat a date, right?
oh.
Yeah?
I mean, I have 2 cats, one female, one male, but they don't work together.
So do you think if like they each had a Tinder, they might like see a side of each other that they didn't know before?
Maybe.
That could be interesting, huh? I think you should set something. Talk to Tom, talk to Bruno. I think we could do this, okay?
I hope so.
Thank you, Kathi.
No worries.
I think we ran pretty much through all the questions.
Do you know the last one that I want to talk to? Where's Mike at? Again, you guys remember Mike. He was the first one to rent one of our ups. Ended up taking the up. And then after that, it just came to be that Mike could show up and get an up, right? It just turned out that like Mike's like, hey, I'm here for my up.
Yeah.
And that went on for a good 1.5 years, right? And so Mike would just show up for an up. And one day I said, hey, Mike, just go have fun, man. All you got to do is put fuel in it.
It was like the
How many laps does the up do on a tank of fuel?
7.5.
7.5, yeah. So the thing was that, well, let me rephrase this. Mike messaged me and said, Robert, what is it like to run the M4 out of fuel on the Nordschleife?
Yeah.
And the thing was, I actually had a really good time. You know, because I didn't have to text message anyone and say, I'm sorry for running your car out of fuel on the Nordschleife.
Yeah.
That didn't have to happen. But see, the difference is that I had a mechanical defect that wouldn't allow my tank to fill all the way. Yeah? What happened to you?
I think the same thing, but nobody researched it. So
Nobody researched it.
I can't say.
I used a 120 liter tank and I did 3.5 laps. Yeah.
I can tell you one thing, though.
And you took a 40 liter tank and you did 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but that was a good talk. That was a really good talk. No, but so the bottom line is I ran out of fuel. You ran out of fuel. I had a bad check valve, and every time we would fill up, I would probably put 10 or 15 liters less in. And finally, I ended up putting 30 liters in, and it would keep clicking off because the tank was compressing.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, we just filled it up. And what's funny is I actually, before that, I came in to Apex, I set tire pressures. We had 500 liters of fuel sitting there. Bruno says, hey, Robert, should we top off the tank? I'm like, no, man, I only did 3 laps. We're cool.
Should be fine.
Oh, we should be good. I mean, it's, you know, it was like 15 minutes to track closing. So I knew by the time I drove down, I was only going to do 1 more lap. I'm like, why should I put fuel in the car? You know, no point. So I made it to Flugplatz. I ran out of fuel. I coasted to Schradenkreuz. I parked up. And it was actually kind of cool. I'd say there was a half hour left. I watched, you know, our taxi go by twice. I waved at people. It was really cool. My phone died too. So I couldn't even do anything. I couldn't post like a really dramatic story or anything like that. So that's what happened to me. Now, I always give Mike a hard time about his situation, but it was fun. It was okay, and I didn't care. I thought it was really funny. But it didn't matter. The honest fact of the matter was that Mike had a car out, and he was enjoying it. He was going lap after lap and just laughing and just having a damn good time, and didn't think about the fuel. And to be honest with you, that can happen. I had the 675 Spider out one day, and we were just going out having fun, and I said, oh, Moritz, follow me on the track. We'll do, it was the last lap of the day. I said, follow me with the 720. We'll do a lap. He goes, no, Robert, I don't have fuel. And I was like, oh, pussy, you know. And I was like, we're just going to do a slow cruising lap. Well, of course, you always get caught up in like some chase. You know, someone's like, and someone passes, you're like, no, that's not going to happen. He's not going to go home and tell his friends, oh, I passed Robert in the LT. So then you go push him a little bit and get your spot back. And the next thing you know, you're at Brunchen going, you know, and you're out of fuel at Brunchen. I was like, oh, shit. I actually thought, I didn't know if I was going to make it back, so I just coasted as far as I could.
The engine kept running.
The engine kept running, but I went into the TF car park, I parked, and I called to Apex and said, bring the fuel bus down, I need some fuel. So I actually was sitting in the car park. So I understand how that is. You have fun, you get out there, and you have a good time. So for me, running the M4 out, when I ran out, I knew there was no possible way I ran out. So I actually thought, well, what just happened to the car? Did the motor, you know, what's going on? And so I was thinking about that, but at the end of the day, it was something simple. We took it off the tow truck, put 120 liters in it, and then I drove it the next day. So, yeah. But again, hey, thanks for a good year. We've had some fun. And if you want the up tomorrow, you can have it, okay? Yeah, for a couple laps. Just don't run it out of fuel.
Yeah, so far the questions, we had one question from the live Instagram feed that Tom Stab was doing the live broadcast. If you're not following us on Instagram, make sure you do. But the question was, if money was no object, what would be the perfect taxi? Well, if I have to answer it, if money is no object, then you actually need to look what makes you the happiest.
Yep.
I mean, again, going back to the up, maybe sometimes I had like shitty lap in the LT with you when there are like 5 red flags and
in an up, you would have been floored the entire way.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Yeah. So it depends. Would you say like, oh, the Speedtail because you have like the fastest McLaren out there and you can have 2 people next to it? No, because the car can probably not take any corners. Maybe. I don't know. I
think you're absolutely right, because my thought is exactly that. A lot of times people think if money's no object, you're going to buy the most expensive LaFerrari, P1, Koenigsegg, AMG, whatever, and you're going to run that as a taxi. But the reality is, if money's no object, that means you don't need to make money. So what would I take? I'd take something like what we're building right now with Shermer, an AMG GTR chassis car, right? Mm-hmm. Or you would take something that you want to drive that's 1,000 kilos, 400 horsepower, sequential gearbox, and if somebody doesn't get in it, you don't care, because you're going to love every single lap. Yeah. It's going to be easy on brakes. It's going to be fast as hell. It's going to be a blast. And the money is no object thing is going to be not about how much can you spend on the car, but do you care if you actually get people to pay for it? Yeah. So I think that the money is no object thing. You're actually going to say, well, I'm not running an F80 M3. I'm not running a 400,000 euro supercar. I'm not doing any of that. You're actually going to take something small, something simple that you want to have a blast in, and the money portion of it is going to be possibly in less sales but more fun. And you're going to focus on a more specific market. If you asked everybody around the Nürburgring, would you rather ride in a 488 Pista, or would you rather ride in the most badass E36 that's ever been built for the Nordschleife? I would just about guarantee that more than 90% of the people from this area would say, I'd rather ride in the E36. Yeah. That's my take. Yeah. And that would be the ultimate taxi, would be something that a true enthusiast lusts after. If you take something that the person that doesn't know about the Nürburgring, the first timer, they're going to want the McLaren, they're going to want the GT3 RS, they're going to want, whatever it could be in that regard, that's what they're going to want. But I think a true car enthusiast is going to want something that's maybe lighter, built for the track, a little bit more motion, no insulation in the car whatsoever. You're going to have a helmet on, an intercom, and everything like that. So I absolutely, I think it's not about money spent on the car, but the other way around.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess this we are almost close to an hour, or at the traditional hour, so we can wrap up. Thank you very much for all your questions, and I hope you're going to post a lot of more of them for our next summit. Yeah, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think that's it. I think it's been, it's actually been a lot of fun. This has been one of the more fun episodes. Hopefully everybody that's watching this later gets to see that we really did enjoy it. We had fun with the live audience, with the guests, with everybody here. I mean, it's actually quite a bit of people if you go around. I'd say we're probably at a good 45, 50 people.
There are a lot of people more behind it. Maybe for the last shot, Tom Stab, maybe you can swing the camera.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of Instagramming too, so I think that's on there. But we've got guys doing a sim race. We've got Moritz. Moritz, are you trying to get, well, where's Moritz? Who's driving? Oh, Lauren's driving. Lauren, you trying to get on the leaderboard? Yeah, I'm trying. So Moritz has got like the top 12 positions. Lauren's going for 13. But no, it's been a good time. It's been fun having everybody here, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah, it's been a good time. Yeah.
I think they're all like, okay, can we go home now?
They're like, oh my God,
Can we
one
go back to the bar?
hour of this nonsense. I'd rather watch this on YouTube while I'm at work. My goodness. But no, thank you guys. We'll probably put out, I mean, this is the middle of November release. I think we should plan for a 1 December as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And really look out for the lap with Apex, or not lap with Apex. That was last year.
That was last
year was lap with Apex. We're like upping it. What do you think is after life with Apex?
After
what are we going to do?
Afterlife.
Afterlife. The afterlife with Apex. This could be bad.
And on that bombshell.
But anyhow, guys.